For 48 agonizing hours, the entire golf world collectively held its breath. It was supposed to be a standard, thrilling Saturday afternoon at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Scotty Scheffler was standing over his golf ball on the fifth fairway, completely dialed in at 9 under par. Rory McIlroy was working through his routine on the practice green, completely focused on the weekend hunt. And then, the piercing sound of sirens ripped through the Florida air. What unfolded next was a scene of absolute, unprecedented chaos. One of the most prestigious, legacy-defining events on the entire PGA Tour schedule was abruptly shut down due to a highly credible security threat. Heavily armed personnel flooded the property. Fans were rapidly herded toward the exits in a state of sheer panic, while the best players on the planet were immediately escorted off the course, forced to leave their clubs, sitting right in the middle of the fairway. The tournament was suspended indefinitely, leaving the grounds eerily empty, and the future of the weekend completely in the dark. But as the sports media scrambled for answers, and the internet erupted with wild speculations, one specific voice remained conspicuously, frustratingly silent. Tiger Woods, the man who practically owns Bay Hill, was watching the chaos unfold from his compound on Jupiter Island. And his initial refusal to speak is exactly what makes the hidden truth of this story so incredibly compelling. The king of Arnie's place. To truly understand why the media was so desperate for Tiger Woods to release a statement, you have to understand exactly what this specific piece of real estate means to him. Bay Hill is not just another stop on the grueling PGA Tour schedule. It is Tiger's personal, undisputed playground. We are talking about a man who has secured 8 historic victories on these exact grounds. He has logged a staggering 62 rounds under par at this venue, boasting a scoring average so absolutely absurd that it defies modern statistical logic. When you mention the Arnold Palmer Invitational today, the first name that pops into the minds of most fans isn't even Palmer. It is Woods. He owns the memories of sinking impossible putts in the fading twilight to secure trophies. So when absolute chaos erupted on Saturday afternoon, when the tournament that proudly bears the name of his late great friend was suddenly reduced to an active crime scene, the golf world instinctively turned its eyes toward Tiger. They wanted to know where he was, what he was feeling, and how the ultimate ambassador of the sport would react to such a terrifying breach of safety. For 2 full days, the answer they received was absolutely nothing. And that silence sent a massive shockwave through the industry. The Jupiter Island War Room. While the television networks looped the same aerial footage of the empty golf course and talking heads debated the future of the tournament, Tiger Woods was recovering from his latest back surgery inside his Florida compound. He was watching the exact same terrifying broadcast as the rest of the world. He saw the frantic crowds, the abandoned equipment, and the sheer confusion painted across the faces of his peers. His phone was reportedly blowing up with endless notifications. Desperate media contacts, tour officials, and public relations managers were begging him for a quick, comforting quote to calm the public down. But Tiger politely declined every single media request. In an era where celebrities rush to post emotional reactions on social media within seconds of an event, Tiger completely removed himself from the public eye. But make no mistake, he was not resting, and he was certainly not ignoring the situation. He was actively processing the threat. He was letting the facts completely materialize before stepping up to the microphone. For a man who has spent the last 30 years being forced to comment on every single major controversy in the sport, his calculated reticence spoke volumes. He recognized instantly that this was not just another minor tour drama or a dispute over prize money. This was an existential threat to the safety of the game he loves and the sanctity of the courses where he forged his legendary career. The 45-minute interrogation, While the public thought Tiger was staying completely out of the drama, he was actually working the phones with a ruthless, calculated intensity behind closed doors. According to multiple deep insiders familiar with the situation, the very first call Woods made within hours of the terrifying evacuation was not to his high-priced PR team or his agents. He picked up the phone and dialed PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan directly. The resulting conversation was described by sources as incredibly intense, heavily detailed, and lasting nearly 45 minutes. Tiger wasn't calling to complain. He was calling to demand absolute, unfiltered answers. He wanted to know the exact nature of the threat. He interrogated the commissioner on how the immediate evacuation was handled, what security protocols utterly failed, and exactly what emergency measures were being drafted to ensure this never happened again. The insider revealed that Tiger didn't react with blind emotion. He acted like a lead investigator. He gathered the raw data, assessed the vulnerabilities, and formulated a plan. He has transitioned from being just a generational athlete to acting as a legitimate architect of the PGA Tour's future, protecting the sacred grounds. Immediately after hanging up with the commissioner, Tiger directed his attention straight to the source of the chaos. He personally contacted the Bay Hill Ownership and Management Group. You have to remember the deep, incredibly emotional bond that Tiger shared with Arnold Palmer. They possessed a mutual respect that transcended the game of golf, a friendship between absolute titans that endured right up until Palmer's passing in 2016. To Tiger, the Bay Hill Club and Lodge is the physical, living embodiment of Arnold Palmer's legacy. He knows every single inch of that property, every sightline, and every entry point. He demanded to understand exactly how the security perimeter had been breached or threatened, and he wanted a full breakdown of the defensive changes that would be implemented moving forward. One source close to the camp revealed that the thought of something catastrophic happening on Arnie's sacred grounds, to the players and the fans who make the tournament so special, hit Tiger incredibly hard. He viewed the incident not just as a failure of event security, but as a direct insult to the memory of a man he considered family. The locker room godfather. But Tiger didn't stop with the corporate executives and the tournament directors. He knew that the real victims of the weekend were the guys inside the ropes, whose nerves had been completely shattered. While the media was busy hunting for sensational headlines, Tiger was quietly reaching out to the players directly. Scottie Scheffler, who had been violently pulled out of his elusive flow state, received a personal text message. Rory McIlroy, who has carried the heavy burden of being the tour's primary spokesperson for years, got a direct phone call. But perhaps the most impactful outreach was directed at Shane Lowry. Lowry was already reeling from a devastating, highly publicized collapse at the Coblescent Classic the week prior. And now he was caught right in the middle of a traumatic evacuation. Tiger bypassed all the golf talk. He didn't ask about swing mechanics or leaderboard positioning. He simply checked in on his friend. Lowry later revealed that Tiger just wanted to make sure he was mentally okay, and that small, quiet gesture of humanity meant more to him than anyone will ever truly understand. By the time Monday morning rolled around, Tiger had already executed a massive, behind-the-scenes leadership campaign. The public statement was just the final piece of the puzzle. The masterclass statement. Just hours before the PGA Tour made the highly anticipated decision to resume play at Bay Hill, Tiger Woods finally broke his silence. The statement was pushed out through his official channels, and it was a masterclass in calculated, undeniable authority. It was carefully worded, yet unmistakably raw and personal. He opened by acknowledging the terrifying reality of the last 48 hours, expressing his deep gratitude that law enforcement acted swiftly to neutralize the threat and that no one was physically injured. But then, the tone of the statement completely shifted. It evolved from a standard corporate expression of relief into a fierce, unapologetic defense of the sport itself. Tiger wrote that Bay Hill is a special place, a community built by Arnie to celebrate the game they love. He boldly declared that what happened on Saturday threatened that community, but it completely failed to destroy it. And then he dropped the line that instantly went viral across every major sports network. He stated that confidence in security is no longer enough. The tour needs immediate, decisive action. But he offered a massive, crucial warning. We need a system that protects the game without turning it into a fortress. The threat to golf's DNA. That single word, fortress, exposed the terrifying reality of what this security threat actually means for the future of professional golf. Tiger Woods has lived his entire adult life surrounded by private security details, dealing with stalkers, and navigating the suffocating realities of global fame. He understands the incredibly delicate balance between personal safety and public accessibility better than any athlete alive. He knows that the pure, undeniable magic of professional golf lies in its openness. It is the only major sport where fans can stand mere inches away from their heroes, where they can hear the exact sound of the club striking the ball, and where children can reach out for an autograph as players walk to the next tee box. If the PGA Tour reacts to this threat by building massive walls, pushing the galleries hundreds of yards away, and militarizing the fairways, the soul of the sport will be permanently destroyed. Tiger warns that fear is the real enemy. Fear changes human behavior. Fear closes doors. If the tour allows fear to dictate their future protocols, the bad guys win, even if a single shot is never fired. The Monday morning resurrection. Tiger closed his monumental statement with a powerful call to action. He challenged the players, the fans, and the officials to refuse to let fear win. He demanded that they show up on Monday, finish what they started, and remind the entire world that the game of golf is infinitely bigger than any single threat. He ended with a tribute that gave fans absolute chills. Arnie would want it that way, and so do I. The impact of those words was immediate and explosive. The statement was analyzed by every major outlet and actively quoted by the players as they laced up their shoes to return to the course. When the sun finally rose over Bay Hill on Monday morning, the heavy, paralyzing tension had broken. Scottie Scheffler walked straight back to the fifth fairway, marked his ball exactly where he was forced to abandon it, and locked back into his round. Rory McIlroy returned to the practice green with a renewed sense of purpose. The crowds may have been slightly smaller due to the Monday restart, but the fans who showed up brought a defiant, electric energy with them. They held up signs quoting Tiger's statement, proving that the community would not be intimidated. The new boardroom reality. This terrifying incident has officially accelerated a massive shift occurring inside the PGA Tour's corporate structure. Since joining the policy board, Tiger has transformed from a quiet, legendary player into the ultimate active architect of the league's future. Under the leadership of CEO Brian Rolapp, the tour has been trying to play offense against rival leagues and shifting media landscapes. But security is now officially the ultimate priority. Every single upcoming event on the calendar is going to be heavily reviewed. Every entry point, bag check protocol, and emergency communication channel is being placed under a microscope. But because Tiger is sitting in those boardroom meetings, the executives cannot just rely on blind militarization. They have to find the impossible balance between keeping the players completely safe and keeping the fans connected to the action. It is a razor-thin tightrope, and the survival of the tour's incredible fan experience depends entirely on getting it right. The Arnold Palmer Invitational will eventually crown a champion. The massive checks will be cashed, the FedEx Cup points will be distributed, and the media circus will pack up and move to the next city. But the terrifying events of this weekend at Bay Hill will never ever be forgotten. It served as a brutal, violent wake-up call for a sport that has historically prided itself on gentlemanly conduct and open, grassy landscapes. However, thanks to the undeniable leadership of Tiger Woods, the narrative shifted from panic to absolute resilience. He didn't just protect Arnold Palmer's legacy. He protected the psychological foundation of the entire locker room. Let me know exactly what you guys think down in the comments. Should the PGA Tour drastically increase security and push the fans further away from the players? Or would that completely ruin the experience of attending a live golf tournament?